Hello friends, welcome back to the strategic management class. Yesterday we were discussing about the mergers and acquisitions. These two strategies are very important strategies for the growth of the any kind of business, whether that one is a small scale or else a large scale. You will be finding these kinds of situations regularly if you observe the market. Yesterday we were discussing about merger. So merger means in general friendly way combining of two or more companies in order to do the business combinedly. So as far as the mergers are concerned, there will not be any kind of domination on each other of the companies. All the companies who are merged together are going to share their profits, share their market, share their knowledge, share their whatever benefits they have to amongst all the companies. But today we are going to understand about the one more very important strategical activity you find in the business world, which is nothing but the acquisition. Acquisition generally will be considered as a merciless way of acting. A stronger company is going to occupy, is going to clinch the market, or else what to call the businesses of what to call the weaker companies most of the times. Generally, in the acquisition, you find two kinds of companies. One company which takes hold of the all the rights of the one more company. The company whichever takes hold of all the rights is known as an acquirer, and the company whichever loses all this what to call the rights is known as an acquired company. So in the acquisition, generally one can find the aggressive approach. Most of the times the acquisition kind of strategies will not be taking place in terms of the acceptance. Mutual acceptance, that too under friendlier environment. The stronger company not to develop more, the stronger company not to have more marketing growth without putting much more efforts. These acquisition activities will be taking place. So under acquisition activity, you find the combining of the two or more companies, but without any kind of friendlier environment. So let us see what are the things under acquisition one can observe. The act of overtaking something and acquiring it to be one's. It's nothing but forcibly taking over. A big company is taking over what to call the all the rights of the small companies. An acquisition occurs when one company purchases another company. So here under acquisition one can have the 100% interest in another firm by making the acquired firm a subsidiary business within its portfolio. The first company what you are calling as acquirer, the company which loses all its rights is known as acquired. In many cases, it is very difficult to adopt a new venture strategy for the diversification of the businesses. Hence, the acquisition will be taking place. So, because again to start from the scratch for the acquirer, the stronger company, maybe it is more time consuming. Hence, it adopts the acquisition kind of what we call the strategy. So, let us see a few of the companies generally which are understand which are falls under acquisition strategy. See here few of the acquisition strategies among the Indian companies in the year 2000 20, Infosys, Kaleidoscope, Reliance Retail, Futures Group, Hindalco Steels, Aleris, LIC, IDBI in the year 2019, Oyo Room, so many big companies, Flipkart, Tata Steel, Bhusan Steel, Bharti Airtel, Tikona, Byju's, Vidyartha. These are some of the examples. After understanding the companies which comes under acquisition, now let us see here the continuing information as far as acquisition is concerned. To avoid the difficulties of implementing new venture strategies, some companies diversify a business via the acquisition of an existing firm. If the companies wants to start a business, what is required? Again, you need to have what is called ABC kind of planning. So not to have that kind of activities, most of the companies prefers for acquisition. The to be acquired firm may be either a reputed, well established firm or a weak firm but has a high potential of profit if a company acquires an. Generally, the company who wants to acquire any other company, that might be a stronger company or weaker company. Before that, they analyze that by acquiring activity, the acquirer is going to be more stronger. That would be the benefit. Already established firm, it can move directly to build an upmarket position. So when acquisition is taking place, the acquirer is going to have the upmarket immediately. That is the one more benefit of going for the acquisition. The acquisition offers an effective way to hurdle such entry barriers as acquiring technological experience, establishing supplier relationships, becoming big enough to match rivals' efficiency and unit costs, having to spend large sums on introductory advertising and promotion to gain market visibility, brand recognition, and securing adequate distribution. So these are the benefits of the acquisition. So generally, the acquirer is going to acquire the company by which the acquirer should benefit in terms of spread of the market, distribution channel is concerned, suppliers are concerned, its visibility of the market is concerned. So these are the few of the direct benefits which are going to have the acquisition strategy by the acquiring company. Okay. So generally these are the two variety types of acquisitions: friendly acquisition, hostile acquisition. So under friendly acquisition, what do you find? A company invites other companies to acquire its business. So formal discussions would be there as far as what you called the friendly acquisition is concerned. Under hostile acquisition, aggressively the acquirer is going to acquire the company through purchasing what you call the acquired company shares for higher prices. So by that, the shareholders absolutely willing to sell the what you call the shares to the rivalry company. So what you call such a kind of acquisition activity, hostile acquisition. So these are all called two variety types of acquisitions. One is called friendly acquisition and one more is called hostile acquisition. This is the last topic under your fourth unit. So generally, again, these are the few of the benefits of the acquisitions. The acquisitions are, generally speed up expansion process. Generally, the acquisitions are the not simple way of what you call taking place the activity. Some problems would be there. So what are the things here explained? As the motive is to take over someone else's business, the acquiring company offered to buy the shares at a very high premium. That is the gaining difference between the offer price and market price of the share. So forcibly, aggressively, the acquirer going to acquire the rights of the company. the entices the shareholders and they sell their stake to earn quick money. This way, the acquiring company gets the majority stake and takes over the ownership control of the target company. This is completely unethical way of. But sometimes what happens, the businesses are going to adopt this what to call activity for the survival purpose. So they attract the shareholders by showcasing the higher price than their what to call the companies where they withhold the shares. So because of that, generally the shareholders come forward to sell the rights of the shares. So these are some of the benefits of the what to call the acquisition. Why actually acquisition is purposeful, useful? So two parties would be there. One is acquirer, one more is acquired. So for acquirer, the main purpose would be increase the market power. So generally the company whoever come and what to called acquiring the one more company immediately going to upshoot as far as what to call the market coverage is concerned. So what do you call this? Increase the market power, overcome entry barriers. Through the acquisition, the companies are going to overcome the entry barriers, reduce the cost of new product development, increase speed access to the market. Because already the acquired company is going to have much more accessible to the market. Reduce risk compared to developing new products. This is one more advantage. Increase the diversification of the business. This is one more strategy, providing improved capacity utilization. So resources are going to be utilized in a more effective way, making better use of the existing sales force, gaining economies of the scale. So what are economies of the scale? The cost per unit will be reduced and avoid excessive competition. So these are the some of the purposes of what to call going for acquisition. So what are those? The first one is market power increment, overcome entry barriers, reduce the cost of new product development, access to the market, developing new products, diversification of the business, gaining economies of the scale, avoid excessive competition. So lastly, these are the few examples. I already showed you few wonderful examples. Along with these are the some of the examples as far as acquisition strategy is concerned. Who implemented acquisition strategy? Yahoo acquired Intomi Corporation. Johnson and Johnson acquired Seos. Pfizer acquired Pharmacia. Oracle acquired PeopleSoft, and Kodak acquired PracticeWorks. So these are some of the major acquisitions taking place in the market. So this is the conclusion of what we call your fourth unit. So acquisition. So this is a very very important discussion. The difference between acquisition and as well as the merger. Merger and acquisitions. Merger is nothing but friendly way joining two or more companies. Acquisition means forcibly or else aggressively having the rights of one more companies. Understand? Both are purposefully useful. That depends upon the strategy which is being implemented in the businesses. Okay. So here we are going to understand the differences between mergers and acquisitions. So merger and acquisitions are often known to be single terminology defined as a process of combining two or more companies, but there is a small difference. So both are come together to expand their businesses. But the merger is the friendly way of joining or combining. The acquisition is nothing but aggressively clinching the rights of what you called the other company. So these are the differences. So under acquisition, generally one find two different sizes of the companies most of the times. Because of that, what will be there? Inequality as far as the power is concerned. But whereas in the case of mergers, most of the time the two companies are going to have equal power, equal in size. So these are some of the comparative information as far as acquisitions and as well as mergers are concerned. Okay. So here ends your complete fourth unit. So what is the last topic we learned? We learned about mergers and acquisitions. So under fourth unit, what you learn? What are the various strategies which are there in order to grow the business? Understand? In terms of typical times, in terms of what you called getting so much experience in the market, if losses are there. So based upon the situation, we need to use various kinds of the strategies. So after discussing all these things, now we are going to start the last unit, fifth unit today. What is that? The strategy implementation corporate ethics. This is unit 5, strategy implementation and corporate ethics. So let us discuss about strategy implementation. What is strategy implementation? Till now we came to know what are the different types of the strategies. Based on the problem, whatever solution is there, what you call the different types of the strategies. But how to implement that strategy, how to in practical way, what are the activities are required to derive the wanted results is known as the implementation of the strategy. Let us suppose that a company feels in any particular market area sales for the leather goods are going to have more sales of the leather goods kind of business is going to have more encouragement. So the company strategizes where to we can have the procurement of the leather, where you can have the tanning of the leather, and what are the types of the products can be manufactured, like footwear or else what to call bags, different kinds of articles. So they will plan on the paper, but practically way to locate that particular plant layout, the machinery to be purchased, the kind of technology being implemented, the marketing, the distributors, all this comes under strategy implementation. So strategy implementation is nothing but the practically the required activities to implement whatever is planned on the paper. Strictly speaking, strategy implementation has got more difficulties because practically no one knows what kind of problems would be arised. Again changes, again alterations, again adjustments are required. So all these things we are going to discuss under what we call the strategy implementation topic. Understand? So which is the starting of the fifth unit. So let us see actually what do you mean by strategy implementation. Strategy implementation is the process by which an organization translates its chosen strategy into action plans and activities which will steer the organization in the direction set out in the strategy and enable the organization to achieve its strategic objectives. We all know very well that every company before establishing their businesses, they will have their vision, they will have their mission, goals, objectives. So the strategy implemented is nothing but the finally to reach to their objectives, to derive their set goals finally. Further, the kind of activities one takes care of is nothing but the strategy implementation. What are strategies? Strategies are nothing but long-term plans, step-by-step procedures. For a leather industry, what are the steps are going to be required? For a FMCG company, fast moving consumer goods company, what are the things required? For a retailer business, what is the area to be chosen? What should be the size of the shop, so that we can what to call showcase the groceries, and what type the customers regularly going to visit the shop. So all these are all nothing but what the strategies. Okay. So how to implement? The activity performed according to a plan in order to achieve an overall goal. So what is strategy implementation? It's an activity or pool of activities which actually allows to reach to the set goal finally. It means mobilizing employees and managers to put formulated strategy into action. It is action stage. So behind the development of the strategy, the people will be working, the team will be working, managers would be there, in charges would be there, supervisors would be there. So under strategy implementation, one need to motivate all these people who are stakeholders for the development of the strategies. It includes developing a strategy, supportive culture, redirecting marketing efforts, developing and utilizing information system, linking employee incentives to organizational performance. Right from incentives to the sources required for the reaching the set goals, meticulously linking together comes under what we call the strategy implementation. The basic strategy implementation activities are establishing annual objectives, devising policies, allocated resources, managing conflicts, restructure, engineering rewards and incentive plan, minimizing resistance to change, matching managers with strategies, adapting processes, developing effective HRM functions. So these are the various kinds of activities generally comes into play when a strategy being implemented. So other things are what the strategy implementation also includes the making of decisions with regard to matching strategy, organizational structure, developing budgets and motivational systems. You see, planning is different, and adapting, sticking to the plan, and finding the activities required according to the plan to reach to the goal is nothing but the strategy implementation. So when strategy implementation is taking place, one need to take care of everything of the organization. Otherwise, what will be there? There will not be any scope to reach to the set object or set goals finally. Hence, the strategy implementation has got a very, very valuable, weightage as far as organization is concerned. So generally, the strategy implementation can be done by using this McKinsey's 7S framework. Understand? So these McKinsey's 7 frames work developed by Tom Peters and Robert Waterman. So we are working as a consultants at the McKinsey company. So they identified 7 internal elements of an organization that need to align for it to be successful. So what are the elements here? The strategy, structure, systems, skills, staff, style, and finally shared values. Okay. So these are the things essentially need to take care of while going for a strategy implementation. So what are those? Strategy, structure, system, style, staff, skills, and finally shared values. So hard SS and soft SS. Strategy, structure, systems falls under hard. Skills, staff, style, shared values falls under soft. So what are the strategy? The strategy is your organization's plan for building and maintaining a competitive advantage over its competitors. So we have been discussing, understanding that strategy is nothing but a plan for any company. So finally, way to reach. Structure. This is how your company is organized. That means within the company, how the departments are linked together. So whom is going to report to whom, that the hierarchical level is known as the structure. That is a very, very important as far as the strategy implementation is concerned. Systems, the daily activities and procedures that staff use to get the job done. How the procedures are taking place. Connectively falls under systems observation. The shared values, these are the core values of the organization as shown in the corporate culture and general work ethic. They were called superordinate goals when the model was first developed. Style, the style of the leadership adopted, autocratic, like that. The next, the staff, the employees and their general capabilities, skills, the actual skills and competencies of the organization employees. So McKinsey's 7 Cs, you call this. Okay. So today what we discussed introductory part of the implementation. Started with this acquisition. We came to know what is an acquisition. These are various points, various things to be considered in the acquisition. It's an aggressive way of clinching the rights of other company. Most of the times acquisition. Friendly way of clubbing with other companies called as a merging. So these are different types: friendly acquisition, hostile acquisition. These are types of business acquisitions continued: friendly and hostile. What are the major reasons for acquisition? Increase market power, overcome entry barriers, reduce the cost of new product development, all these things. So differences between merger and acquisitions. And I started the last unit, 5th unit, strategy implementation. Planning strategy is different. Practically taking care of the activities which make company to reach its set goals is called as implementation. Quite different thing, which is actually more toughest, strategy implementation. So in strategy implementation, so McKinsey's 7S framework. So strategy, structure, systems, hard SS, style, staff, skills, shared values comes under soft SS. Who developed this? Tom Peters and Robert Waterman in the year 1970s. So I'm stopping here. In the next class, we discuss one more topic. Thank you so much.